going to do something sweet this morning. How's that sound, everybody? Chef Cheryl Kirby is joining us from Smiley Tree Bakery and Cafe. We're doing something pretty perfect for Mardi Gras, don't you think?
Yes.
Yeah, tell everybody what we're making.
Okay, well, we're going to do a praline king cake bread pudding. So a lot of times you have leftover king cake, or even if you just have a little leftover king cake, it can make really, really well into a bread pudding. Bread pudding basically, originated from having leftover stale bread and trying to use it. And so ideally what you want is, we want to have as dry as possible. We don't have enough time to kind of let it sit out, so we're going to chop this up into cubes.
Okay.
This is kind of a quick way to go ahead and get it going. So if we chop this up into little cubes, we're going to stick it in the oven, which is going to dry it out quicker.
And by the way, as a side note, if you don't have one of these bread knives that Cheryl is using, I got one about a year ago. Oh my goodness, I was missing out. You have to get one of these. I mean, amazing for cutting bread if you're making sandwiches or anything.
Makes all the difference.
This thing is awesome. So just put it on your list, your wish list, I guess, if you don't have one. Okay, so we're cutting the pieces of bread.
Yes.
Okay.
And it is, I actually made this 2 days ago, and it still has a lot of moisture to it, so you really want your bread dry. Reason being, we're going to make our liquid, which is going to be milk, and you can use milk, cream, butter, but we're going to do the milk and butter and get that really hot. You want it to soak in really well, so we want it as dry as possible.
Okay, good tips there. Very nice. Now, what are the other ingredients? While you're cutting that, tell us what else we're going to need to make this.
Well, basically the king cake, obviously. You can do leftover king cake. You can make a king cake like I did. This one I did not fill. I just did a cinnamon sugar, since we're going to be putting a lot of stuff into it. We're also going to have pecan praline, which I have made pralines, which we will crumble into the breadcrumbs, and then we're going to top it with a praline sauce. We do a lot of king cakes, and people love the praline filling in the king cake.
I bet.
It is a really good little, you bite into it and you get this little bite of praline in there, and it's really, really good.
Do you have to taste test everything you make?
Well, I try not to.
Oh my goodness. I don't know how I could resist. I don't know if this is right. Let me see. Yeah. Okay.
There are days that you kind of get tired of it. It's kind of like, yeah, okay, I'm good. But I drink a lot of coffee, so that helps probably.
Yeah. I just wonder if I'll ever get to that point where I just say, okay, I'm tired of chocolate. I don't want it anymore. I've thought about maybe just eating a ton and just being gluttonous one day and then thinking maybe I'll stop eating it forever.
Probably work for a little while, but then you'll eventually want it again.
Eventually I'll have that craving once again. Okay, this seems like a lot of bread, but you need a lot to make this bread pudding. It
does seem like a lot. And honestly, like with this recipe, and you'll see on the recipe that I posted, if it says 2 to 3 eggs, that kind of, you can kind of play with it. Once something's baked, you can play with it however you want. So if it seems like it needs more liquid, add more milk, add more eggs, gets a little more moist. So,
well, tell us how we find you and your bakery.
We are we're in Foley. We're across from Walmart. Basically, there's a plaza over there that has Planet Beach and AT&T.
Yeah.
We're in that plaza. I think it's called Foley Place. And we are open. Actually, we have new hours, which is good to announce.
Yeah, absolutely.
We're going to be open until 6:30 now. So we'll be open later. We're usually early hours, but now we're going to go later.
Extended
and
hours.
Open Saturdays. So,
that's good.
Yeah, but we're always open for orders. So if you have to call, we do everything, a lot of custom orders, catering.
Okay, and you have sweet things and also sandwiches and things like that as well?
Awesome soups and sandwiches, and everything's from scratch, so it's all fresh and really, really good. And we do custom cakes, custom anything really. And we do a lot of catering, so we do different orders and stuff, so.
A lot of good stuff. Okay, so you can find out more information online, Studio 10 tab on fox10tv.com. So all the bread is cut, and then when we come back, we're going to get Danny to help you out, and we're going to start mixing all the ingredients together. Does that sound good?
Sounds good.
All right, we'll do that in just a few minutes. Stick around.
We are back in the kitchen on our great kitchen set with Cheryl Kirby from Smiley Tree Bakery and Cafe, and we are making a delicious smelling moon pie bread pudding. Cheryl, what is the next step we're going to do? I see we've got our breadcrumbs toasted. What are we doing next?
So those are all toasted, so they're nice and dry. We're actually going to put them into this bowl. Which will take a few minutes so we don't spill it out all over the place.
It smells divine. I can't think of another word to describe it. Delicious.
I did add a little bit of extra cinnamon and nutmeg.
That's what it is.
sprinkled on top because this king cake, my recipe, I use cinnamon and nutmeg.
Oh, you put them on the
And
breadcrumbs before you
I
toasted
actually,
them?
after I took them out of the oven, I went ahead and sprinkled a little bit of that on top.
Okay.
Not only does it smell good, but it gives it a little bit of that extra, you know,
Sweet
zestiness to it. Yeah, it's really, really good. So,
What are these other ingredients? What's this right here? Are we
well,
going to mix
this is
those
the
into?
pecan praline. Yep, we're going to put, let's see if I can lift this up here.
Okay.
Once we get all these in there, there, a lot quicker.
Okay.
Okay,
I'll take this
so
out of your way.
we've got all the breadcrumbs. We're going to take the pecan praline and just basically scoop that into there.
Okay.
And we're going to toss it. So it's basically crumbled up into little pieces. So then we're going to have it kind of interspersed throughout the bread pudding. It's going to be really good. You get like a little pop, a little bite of praline in your pieces. So kind of a fun, messy thing to make. You don't have to be careful.
Something you can do with your kids too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Definitely.
That's really
We
fun.
do a lot of baking with my kids, so, you know, it's definitely an easier thing to do. And then just basically toss it up
Okay.
to get it just mixed in there really good. And
Now, from beginning to end, about how long does it take to make this dish?
probably if you have your bread or your king cake already done, maybe half hour, 45 minutes. If you have
Okay.
to, you know, just depending. Typically, like I use a convection oven, so it only takes about 20 minutes maybe to bake.
Not bad at all.
Some bread pudding, and plus we're making minis. We're making little ones, but a lot of times if you put it in a big casserole, it might take, you know, about an hour to
Okay.
bake. So
Now, is this cream or milk?
this is milk.
Okay.
You can use cream. It depends on how rich you want it to be. This recipe just calls for, I just use whole milk, and you can use about 4 or 5 tablespoons of butter. Like I said before, with the recipe, you can alter that all you need to based on how many breadcrumbs. Like that ended up being a lot more. It just depends on how much you have, how big your king cake is, how big your loaf of bread is if you're making it, and basically kind of add a little extra just so you have enough moisture because you don't want to be too dry or anything.
Okay.
So this basically is just butter and milk, and we're going to heat that up and get it nice and warm.
And then we'll mix it in with that?
We're going to pour it over the breadcrumbs so it soaks in, and ideally let it sit for, you know, a little while.
Okay.
At least, you know, I'd give it at least 10 minutes, but sometimes you can do it for even longer or even overnight. But we want that to soak.
Okay,
to
while
get
we're
nice and
waiting
moist.
on the butter to melt, tell everybody about your cafe, where you're located.
We're across from Walmart in Foley. There's a plaza there called Foley Place. It's by Planet Beach and AT&T, and we do everything from scratch. Light lunch, soups and sandwiches, and gumbo. We have a new one that's come out. We're doing gumbo now, which
Yummy.
is really, really good.
What would you say is the most popular dish that you serve? Is it something sweet, or is it like
hard. That's
everything?
really hard. For the sweet side, I'd say we do a lot of custom cakes. That's our big thing. That's my big thing. I do a lot of custom cakes. Bakery-wise, we do, you know, our cupcakes. Red velvet is huge. That's a big, big, you know, popular one. And cinnamon rolls.
Yum.
Good cinnamon rolls. So
What time are you guys open?
we are our brand new hours this week, 10:30 to 6:30.
Okay.
And then now Saturdays as well. So that'll be, I believe, till 3 o'clock. I have to double check on that one.
Okay, well, we'll let you double check on it. We're going to put the recipe for this on our webpage on fox10tv.com. We're going to continue with this, and we'll let Cherish come and sample the goods when we come back in our next segment. How's that sound?
Sounds good.
Okie dokie. We're going to send things over to Miss Cherish now. We're back in the kitchen on our great kitchen set with Cheryl Kirby from Smiley Tree Bakery and Cafe, and we're finishing up our moon pie bread pudding. It looks like you're about to slide this into the oven.
Yes.
All
This
right.
is just like king cake. It's basically like in a little round, so we put them in little bundt pans.
Okay.
And I will give that to you to go
Okie
ahead and
dokie.
place in the oven.
Will do.
And then we've also got in there too you can do them as well as little individuals and do them in the little muffin tins. So you can do the minis, you can do the jumbo muffins, Just however you want to serve it. I mean, you can do it in a big casserole too.
And how long do they cook in the oven for?
Depending on the oven, it could be 20 minutes up to, the smaller one's probably about half an hour.
Okay, and this is our finished product here? Mm-hmm. All right, and what are we going to do with this sauce?
This is the praline sauce. I'm going to let you do that.
Okay.
If you stir that for me. And basically, we're just melting that into there.
All right.
We're going to put the brown sugar. We have light brown sugar and some dark brown sugar in there.
Okay.
I'm going to go ahead and chop up the pecans. Always try to toast your pecans if you can before you use them. It brings out the flavor and the oils in it, and they just taste a lot better.
This smells so sweet.
So you're just going to stir that up. This is super, super easy. Basically stir it up over the heat until it kind of becomes cohesive and syrupy. And then at the end, we'll add the vanilla, the pecans, and drizzle it over the
I feel like a
bread
gourmet
pudding.
chef right now.
Don't you?
I feel all fancy, stirring my sauce.
You're doing very good.
Thank you so much.
And then we'll get the vanilla.
Okay.
And yeah, really, that's all it takes for the sauce. And
Okay,
it
is
just
that
basically comes together to get it nice and smooth, like a syrup. And then we'll add the vanilla, and then we drizzle it on top.
Okay.
So,
how much vanilla do we
simple.
add?
We'll do a teaspoon.
Okay.
So I'll let you do that. I don't spill everywhere. Some people add or do a different, now for this is the praline, but you can do this and just add, you can add whiskey or some bourbon or, you know, just different flavors.
All right, make it happy.
Yep.
All right, can we drizzle it now?
Yeah, we can go ahead and drizzle some on there. So I will go ahead and take that. I'm just going to scrape the sides around.
Okay. All right. Now we're going to drizzle this up, and I'll taste it in just a bit once we get it all done. And right now we're going to send it over and see what our weather's looking like.
All right, Danny got her something sweet to eat.
I sure do. I might just let you close out the show while I have this.
She's just going to eat. Well, as always, thank you so much for joining us. Again, happy MLK.